Hi and welcome back to my channel. So I'm super excited about today's video because this is video number 7. So let's jump right on in. So I want to talk a little bit about Santa Claus, but then I want to share some interesting facts that I found out. So now, we know that Santa Claus is generally depicted as a portly, joyous, white-bearded man, right? And sometimes he has on glasses and sometimes he doesn't. But he wears a red coat that has a white fur collar and white fur cuffs. He wears red trousers with cuffs at the bottom, a black leather belt, and black boots, right? And he walks around with a bag full of toys for all the good little boys and girls, right? But did you know that the image of Santa that we have seen today as well as over the years is said to have come from a 19th century poem that came out in 1823. And the poem was called "A Visit from Saint Nicholas." And of course, there was a political cartoonist by the name of Thomas Nast who came up with this image that we now know as Santa. So I thought that was very interesting because I was not aware of that. So let's talk about letter writing. So you're going to learn something, because I didn't know a lot of this, but you're going to learn today how letters are responded to when our children write to Santa, right? And so it says that writing letters to Santa has been a Christmas tradition for children for many years. Of course it is, because for some of us, we did it, right? And their wish lists of things that little boys and little girls want. But did you know that little boys and little girls write differently when they're making their lists? And some social scientists found that girls generally write longer but more polite lists and express the nature of Christmas more in their letters than in letters written by little boys. Girls also are more often to request gifts for other people. And I can believe that because we're just very thoughtful that way. Many postal services allow children to send letters to Santa Claus. These letters may be answered by postal workers or outside volunteers. Writing letters to Santa has the educational benefits of promoting literacy, and it can be through using the internet or, working on their writing skills. So I thought that was very interesting, something I really hadn't thought about. And let's see, what else? So in Canada, get this, they have a special postal code for letters for Santa Claus, and they've been and since 1982, over 13,000 Canadian postal workers have volunteered to write responses. And guess what? In Canada, if you live in Canada and you want to write Santa a letter, here's his address. It is Santa Claus, North Pole, Canada, HOHOHO. That says that, and there's no postage required to write to him at that address. I thought that was really, really interesting. And let's see, in Britain, there was a tradition for some to burn the Christmas letters so that they would be magically transported by the wind to the North Pole. In Mexico and other Latin American countries, besides using the mail, sometimes children wrap their letters in a small helium balloon and they release them into the air so Santa magically receives them. Through the years, the Finnish Santa Claus has received over 8 million letters. He receives over 600,000 letters every year from over 198 different countries, with Togo being the most recent country added to the list. Children from Great Britain, Poland, and Japan are the busiest writers. And I thought that was very interesting. Now, let's talk about Santa tracking, because this is going to be very important come next week. So, there are Santa websites and emails to and from Santa, right? So, over the years, there have been a number of websites created by various organizations that have that say they can track Santa Claus, right? And if you ever watch the news, I think I've seen it on Fox 5, but they do it as well. And I think it's really cute, especially for kids that want to stay up and figure out where Santa is, right? So, some such as NORAD track Santa, the Air Services Australia Track Santa Project, the Santa Update Project, and the MSNBC, and that's what I meant to say. I said Fox 5, but it's MSNBC, and Bing Maps platform, they track Santa as well. Others, such as Dallas Fort Worth International Airport track Santa, the Santa Retro Radar, Lehigh Valley Project, and NASA. I didn't realize this one, but NASA tracks Santa as well. Now, I think the NASA project has kind of fallen by the wayside, but at one time they did. In 1955, a Sears ad with the misprinted telephone number that led to the creation of the NORAD Tracks Santa program. So in 1955, a Sears Roebuck store in Colorado Springs, Colorado gave children a number to call a Santa hotline. The number was mistyped and children called the Continental Air Defense Command on Christmas Eve instead. The Director of Operations, Colonel Harry Shoup, received the first call for Santa and responded by telling children that there were signs on the radar that Santa was indeed headed south from the North Pole. And so a tradition began which continued under the name NORAD Tracks Santa, when in 1958 Canada and the United States jointly created the North America Air Defense Command. This tracking can now be done via the internet and NORAD's website. In the past, many local television stations in the United States and Canada likewise claimed they tracked Santa Claus in their own metropolitan areas through the station's meteorologists. In December 2000, the Weather Channel built upon these local efforts to provide a national Christmas Eve Santa tracking effort called Santa Watch, in cooperation with NASA, the International Space Station, and Silicon Valley based new multimedia from Dreamtime Holdings. So in the 21st century, most local television stations in the United States and Canada rely upon outside established Santa tracking efforts such as NORAD Tracks Santa. Y'all, this is big. I didn't realize so many people got involved with tracking Santa, but if you have little ones, think of how exciting it is for them. Many other websites are available year-round that are devoted to Santa Claus and purport to keep tabs on his activities in the workshop. Many of these websites also include email addresses which allow children to send email to Santa Claus. Most of these websites use volunteer living people as elves. That's interesting. Volunteer living people, as if we thought they weren't. But anywho, to answer email sent to Santa. Some websites, such as Santa's page on Microsoft's Windows Live Spaces, however, have used or still use bots to compose and send email replies with occasional unfortunate results. So there you have it, folks. If you were ever wondering how Santa's image came to be, now you know. And if you were ever wondering about writing to Santa and how responses are received and or how tracking of Santa works, now you know. So, I love you guys. I'm having so much fun doing these videos, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care.